of former President Edgar Lungu, who passed away on Thursday in a South African private hospital at the age of 68. Former President Lungu, who led the country between 2015 and 2021, remained a significant political figure even after leaving office, continuing to influence the Patriotic Front Party and national politics. His death has sparked an outpouring of tributes from political leaders from across the region. To reflect on his legacy and what his passing means for the Patriotic Front and the Zambian politics more broadly, we're now joined by the Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, Raphael Nakacinda. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Africa. I'm honored to have been accorded this opportunity to interact with you.
All right, we begin. I suppose we must offer you our condolences on your loss at this time. How is the Patriotic Front coming to terms with the passing of former President Lungu?
Well, we are totally devastated, gutted, because first of all, this was, a very shocking development, sudden development. Our interaction with our leader towards his death was signifying, expressing, or indicating that he was on the mend, and I think gave us a lot of hope. There were even indications that he could be returning back in the next 2 weeks or so after what he described as a small procedure, which unfortunately today the story is different. Yeah, so really we are devastated, like I said, and the country is devastated. I was just talking to some people from back home who were saying that this development has totally shattered the hopes of our people back home, because obvious, as you know, we are marching towards 2026 elections, and he was one of the more or less leaders that the Zambian people are pronouncing consistently that looking at what has transpired under the leadership of the UPND and Misaka Inde Chilema, we needed experienced and competent hands to come back and get the country back on the road in all areas or facets of governance, whether it is the economy, whether it is governance institutions, democracy, and so on, which have deteriorated in a short space of time. So his death really has devastated every Zambian. And for Patriotic Front, of course, it's a challenge to those of us who are in leadership to make sure legacy is kept.
So you would have worked quite closely with him as the party's Secretary General. How would you describe his leadership style and what kind of leader he was?
President Edgar Lungu was a man of few words. I think he was one who was...
Mr. Nakacinda, there we go. We can hear you now. We were struggling to hear you there, but you're coming through clearly now. Please carry on.
Yeah. I was saying that he was a man of few words. I think he preferred to have his work speak for him more than him playing to the gallery or engaging into trying to justify himself and so on. I think I remember that you had a few moments and times when you interacted with him. You noticed that really he wasn't a man that would, naturally be in the media by himself. But he was a man of action. Within the 7 years that he was president, if you look at the infrastructure development in the country, it's unprecedented. If you look at attempts to strengthen institutions of government, he's the first president who dared in the last 50-something years, but at the time that was getting into office, that was willing to allow the Zambian people give themselves a constitution that they had long been, desiring to have. He did make a pronouncement when he was appointed Minister of Justice at the time before he became president, that the draft constitution that the Zambian people had been discussing and making submissions to a technical committee, and later on looks like his boss was beginning to develop cold feet. When he was made Justice Minister, he made pronouncements that were somehow not expected. That for as long as he remains Minister of Justice, to make sure that the draft, bill will see the light of day in Parliament. When he became president, he on the day of inauguration appointed the Justice Minister with the, clear these directives: go and make sure that the will of the people prevailed, and that's how come the new Constitution of 2016. Was enacted without altering what the wishes of the people were, and that bill came out of a broader, consultation. There was consensus in the nation that's what they desired. It's one of the fundamental achievements in his presidency. Because for a long time, people, for example, were desiring that we should have a majoritarian electoral system that guarantees the majoritarian system by having 50 plus 1
Mr.
threshold and all that.
We're running out of time, unfortunately, but I do have to ask you this. You've painted quite a rich legacy, but some people would say that it's actually quite mixed, that he bankrupted Zambia as a result of a lot of these infrastructure projects and beyond, that the level of corruption was quite high during his tenure, and also that he led with quite a firm hand to the sacrifice of some democratic principles. What would you say to his detractors?
Well, I think now, if you are paying close attention to what is happening, if there was any definition of corruption under Edgar Lungu, I think it was maybe it wasn't the correct definition. If you want to know what corruption is, come to Zambia now, because what is happening in our country is out of this world. Institutions of government have been paralyzed when it comes to the key sectors of our economy, whether it's in the mines and so on. We have, those who are in government, even at the highest level of president, having direct interest in all that is happening there. We're having more or less, privatization program, phase 2, unlike the first one, which, as it were, individuals benefited, but somehow there was a bit of an attempt to salvage what was happening. But this time around, I think by the time Isaka Ndechilema leaves office, Zambia will be left with no asset whatsoever.
Right.
Everything would have been in the hands of foreigners and so on.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We're going to have to leave it there. But I think your message is clear, that you're saying that there's much more corruption right now than during the Lungu period. But we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. And again, our condolences to you and your party on the loss of your leader. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you. That's Raphael Nakacinda, who's the Secretary General of the Patriotic Front Party in Zimbabwe, which was led by former President Edgar Lungu.
Bringing you